Resting along the Pacific Northwest shoreline is a looming threat, the Cascadia subduction zone. This seismic zone is poised to unleash the most significant earthquake in modern history, ushering in a calamity of unprecedented proportions for the United States. Unfortunately, it also happens to be in a region that is not prepared for such a catastrophic event. So when will the terrifying Cascadia earthquake occur, and what will the aftermath be like? Let's find out. The majority of individuals in the United States are familiar with just one fault line, the San Andreas Fault in California. Periodically, the San Andreas Fault sends tremors coursing through California, unsettling residents and causing damage that can reach into billions of dollars. In 1994, a 6.7 magnitude earthquake struck Los Angeles, resulting in property damage totaling about $50 billion. This disaster claimed 57 lives and left 9,000 individuals injured, marking it as one of the most expensive natural disasters in U.S. history. However, while the San Andreas Fault exhibits higher activity, it is not as terrifying as the Cascadia subduction zone fault line, stretching from Northern California to British Columbia. This is primarily because the San Andreas Fault has a maximum limit on its potential magnitude. Every fault line has an upper threshold, and the San Andreas Fault reached a limit of approximately 8.2 on the Richter scale. In contrast, the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake has the potential to reach at least a 9.0, if not higher. While a 1-point difference may not seem significant, earthquakes are measured on a logarithmic scale, meaning that a full point increase represents a substantially greater level of power. To illustrate, a magnitude 6.0 earthquake typically lasts only a few seconds, while a magnitude 7 earthquake persists for about 15 seconds, a magnitude 8 earthquake for approximately 2 minutes, and a magnitude 9 earthquake for a minimum of 4 minutes. The 1994 magnitude 6.7 earthquake, which incurred damages exceeding $50 billion, endured for somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds. In comparison, a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake at a magnitude of 9.0 would last for a considerably longer duration. The reason why the Cascadia subduction zone fault line is so much more powerful has to do with the way the two tectonic plates are meeting. The Juan de Fuca plate is slowly sliding underneath the North American plate, or at least it should be. The reality is that the North American plate is kind of stuck, so the Juan de Fuca plate is continually trying to press under the North American plate. This is creating a lot of built-up pressure and energy, in a similar manner as if you were to pull a rubber band all the way back. At some point that energy will snap and release itself, causing what is likely to be the largest earthquake in modern history. The most recent occurrence of this event was on January 26th in the year 1700, with the earthquake estimated to fall within the range of 8.7 to 9.2 magnitude. Delving further into history reveals an average cycle of approximately 500 years between each earthquake. As of today, we find ourselves 322 years into this cycle. While this might instill a sense of security, it's crucial to remember that averages lack precision. The earliest estimated gap was a mere 390 years, and there's no definitive reason it couldn't be shorter. In 2009, geologists predicted a 10% to 14% probability that the next Cascadia subduction zone earthquake would result in a magnitude 9.0 event within the next 50 years, odds that shouldn't be dismissed lightly. Presently, Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia are frantically preparing for the inevitable Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. Prior to 1980, there was little awareness of the region's vulnerabilities. Consequently, buildings and bridges were constructed without adherence to earthquake-resistant codes, and regrettably, they remain far from being adequately fortified today. Located approximately 50 to 100 miles off the Pacific Northwest coast, the Cascadia subduction zone spans about 620 miles from the northern reaches of California, through Oregon and Washington, and ending off the coast of Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Theoretically, the significant seismic event, known as the Big One, could occur anywhere along this fault line. However, researchers from the California Institute of Technology have computed that the southern segment of the fault line is the most probable location for the next major earthquake. This would place the likely epicenter off the coast of Northern California up to Central Oregon. Regardless of the specific location along the fault line, the entire region would be affected. At the very least, major cities such as Eugene, Portland, Tacoma, Seattle, Everett, Victoria, and Vancouver would all experience some level of impact. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is working under the assumption that everything west of Interstate 5 will face complete destruction. It is estimated that over 10 million people across nearly 100,000 square miles will be directly affected by the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake, and the proximity to the epicenter will determine the extent of their impact, not only during the earthquake but for many years thereafter. When the earthquake eventually occurs, the initial indication won't be a sudden and sustained tremor. Instead, a compression wave will swiftly emanate from the epicenter, outpacing the actual seismic activity. While humans may not readily perceive it, animals, especially dogs, are likely to react, resulting in a clamorous 90 seconds of widespread barking across the region as they sense an impending event. However, thanks to a recently implemented early warning system for Oregon and Washington, individuals with mobile phones are likely to receive alerts. Although it may not seem like much, these 90 seconds provide ample time to execute various life-saving measures, including shutting down railways and power plants, opening elevators and firehouse doors, notifying hospitals to pause surgeries, and activating alarms for the general public to seek shelter. Take a look around your home right now and imagine that in 90 seconds everything is going to come crumbling down inside and out. Where would you go? As soon as the tremors begin, the power will almost immediately fail throughout the entire region west of the Cascade Mountain Range. From that juncture, there will be approximately 4 minutes of intense shaking. During this period, every window in your home will shatter, creating a dangerous situation as razor-sharp shards of glass literally fly everywhere. Unless your home is securely anchored to its foundation, it will rebound through your neighborhood, colliding with virtually everything in its path. By the end of those 4 minutes, your immediate surroundings will bear witness to a level of devastation that few individuals have ever encountered. However, while your neighborhood grapples with this devastation, numerous others will find themselves submerged underwater. Tsunamis are perhaps the most dangerous natural disaster humans have to endure. Given that the Cascadia subduction zone's impact will occur beneath the ocean, the emergence of a tsunami racing from the epicenter toward the west coasts of the United States and Canada is an absolute inevitability. Depending on their location, individuals may have a window of 10 to 30 minutes to evacuate, necessitating an urgent abandonment of everything to seek higher ground. Presently, along the Pacific Northwest coast, approximately 71,000 residents inhabit areas at elevations vulnerable to the imminent tsunami, also identified as the inundation zone. Although constructing hospitals, schools, and firehouses in this zone has been prohibited since 1995, several such structures persist. In 2004, an earthquake-triggered tsunami wreaked havoc across 14 Asian countries, claiming the lives of over 227,000 individuals. While the population residing within the Pacific Northwest inundation zone is lower than that, the anticipated toll of death and devastation is expected to be profoundly significant. After the seismic activity subsides and the tsunami withdraws, the extent of the devastation in the region will become evident. Coastal communities will essentially cease to exist, and major cities, particularly Portland and Seattle, will be obliterated. Presently, projections indicate that along the I-5 corridor, encompassing Eugene, Portland, Tacoma, Seattle, and Everett, it will take anywhere from 1 to 3 months after the earthquake to restore electricity, a month to a year for the re-establishment of drinking water and sewer services, 6 months to a year for the restoration of major highways, and 18 months to bring back healthcare facilities. Along the coast, one can essentially double all these recovery timelines. Naturally, these estimates do not apply to the tsunami zone, which will essentially be uninhabitable for years. The entire Pacific Northwest region will undergo a profound transformation after the significant earthquake, and while the federal government is likely to cover the entire reconstruction expenses, the economic damage to the Pacific Northwest will necessitate a generation to rebuild. A substantial portion of the population will likely relocate and never return. Major corporations and businesses, including Microsoft, Amazon, Nike, Intel, Boeing, and other economic powerhouses for the region, will likely relocate to other parts of the country and may never return. Despite the Pacific Northwest's breathtaking beauty, it is poised to transform into something of a deserted landscape, and it will be an extensive period before any semblance of normality returns. However, amidst this, there is a silver lining. The Pacific Northwest still has the opportunity to prepare itself. In fact, the region may have a century or more to prepare. Currently, both Oregon and Washington have undertaken numerous initiatives to brace for the inevitable earthquake. For instance, in 2014, Portland lacked any bridges capable of withstanding the seismic event. Today, it boasts two crucial lifeline bridges, with additional ones in the planning and construction stages. What are your thoughts on the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.